You know, we started this segment, Moral Maze, I don't know, about 2 months ago or so, because there were so many relatively small but important issues concerning life and sexuality and morality, and we thought we should cover it because you're never going to see a balanced, informed coverage. No, I mean, let me be quite honest, a more pro-life, I suppose, more traditional family coverage, and we are that, no apologies for it. My golly, if we filled every show every day with these subjects, we'd never address the balance because of what you see on the other side. So we thought it was important, and every time we put the show together, we realised there are so many subjects to cover that are simply not given authentic analysis anywhere else. So Moral Maze is what we call it, and Alissa Golob joins us from Campaign Life. She's been away for a couple of weeks. Great to have you back. Let's begin with what happened in Ireland, because this is such a severe example of the doublespeak. Terrible case. A poor woman, Indian Hindu woman who was working in Ireland, died, apparently a miscarriage, and abortion is largely illegal in Ireland, but if the life of the mother is in direct danger, the Irish government, the Irish law is that abortion can take place. Yes. She died. People are now saying it's all because of the abortion law. There are mass protests about, they're using the sign "Never Again," which was coined to describe the Holocaust. I think just out of manners, you shouldn't use that for other things. My reading is this was medical incompetence.
It was most definitely medical incompetence. She died of septicemia, which is not cured by an abortion. Also, it wouldn't have been cured if she had received the abortion earlier. She could have taken the treatment for septicemia while she was pregnant. It does say in the medical guidelines she could have done that, and if the baby died, then it would be to save the life of the mother. But what's actually diabolical in this whole case is the pro-abortion lobby group completely exploiting this case. They don't care that a woman died. They just care that they can use that to further push their agenda. If they really did care about the women who died, they would be talking about the 2 women who recently died in Britain from botched abortions, but you don't hear a thing about that. You just hear about this poor woman who was denied an abortion and she died because of it, and that's completely false. It's not what happened. It's not the facts, and she should not be exploited in that way.
And we should emphasise that Ireland, which is, I mean, it's a divided country now, not as Catholic as it was, but it's still a Catholic country, does not have a large population, by the way. In fact, it's a very small population. Most people think that the abortion laws are perfectly acceptable. And, I mean, look, let's be realistic here. If people want abortions, they can just get a boat across the sea to England. They'll be there in an hour and a half, and they'll all be taken care of. I mean, people are pretending. They're just obsessed with spreading compulsory abortion wherever they can. And
you look at the facts. Even some doctors in India have come out saying that if they meddled with the life of the baby earlier, she would have died days and days earlier. And also, if you look at the statistics, the World Health Organization, and the Guttmacher Institute, the research arm of Planned Parenthood, has said that Ireland has the lowest maternal death rate in the whole world, one of the lowest. So it doesn't make any sense that they should legalize abortion because of this one incidence of medical negligence.
And I must ask people watching now, whatever their views on abortion, have they heard this discussion, this analysis anywhere else?
Oh, absolutely not.
Of course they haven't. And it was entirely
I haven't even heard it.
No.
So.
And you could see, you just knew. I mean, and painting Ireland as some sort of, I don't know, third world country, it has a public medical system, and it's very sophisticated. In fact, a lot of Canadians now go to Ireland to be trained medically. And it's quite insulting on so many levels. And you mentioned the 2 deaths in England that has fully funded abortion and an advanced public national health service. 2 women died in abortions.
2 women died of botched abortions, 18 and 19 years old. Another girl recently died because she hung herself after having 2 abortions, all in Britain. So, but you don't hear anything about that. You don't hear about the botched abortions. If I was a woman in the abortion lobby, I'd be so mad that these women are dying from botched abortions. But no, it's not about that. It's not about caring for women. It's about pushing your political agenda, and that's what it is here.
And we should, again, Britain has, these were not backstreet abortions, Britain has full abortion. On this subject, someone, I didn't hear this, but someone, I think it was CBS, said that pro-lifers, or we shouldn't say pro-lifers, anti-choice activists, they just want to build, quote, trying to build up the white race. What's this garbage about?
It's so amusing on so many different levels. First of all, Margaret Sanger, I mean, top-notch eugenicist, founder of Planned Parenthood, targeting the Black communities. Even today, 80% of the abortuaries in the United States are within walking distance of Hispanic and Black communities.
Let's play that clip if we can.
Watch white people report on this. I mean, I'm not trying to. And when you just showed that graph of the decline of the numbers, I thought maybe that's why they're trying to eliminate all these abortions and stuff. They're trying to build up the race.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, there is always eugenics associated with these questions, right?
where do they get these cretins? I mean, where do they get these morons from? She has no idea, and she plays a sort of, with all due respect, she's playing a certain caricature card for white people to watch. There is a war, in particular, on black, brown, handicapped, and female. These are the main victims of abortion. And they're setting up abortuaries in inner cities with black communities. They're saying to Africa, there's underpopulated, if anything, not that that's the real issue, you've got to abort your children. How dare we tell them what to do? And this idiot goes on TV and says, as you say, Sanger was a racist. People have called Planned Parenthood, they've posed and said, we'll only give money if you abort black babies. And Planned Parenthood said, yep, that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah. It's so funny, ha ha ha, you know, 60% of my own race is aborted, and I'm laughing about this. And not only that, but saying that the whites are the racists, like it makes no sense whatsoever. You know, that big billboard that caused so much controversy, the most dangerous place for a black baby is in the mother's womb, and that's definitely the case today, and it's no laughing matter.
I've seen that sort of, I don't know who it was, the white fella, the little fella there, you know, laughing. I mean, Christopher Hitchens, whatever his faults, I'm fond of Chris, and I'm very sad that he's no longer with us, because he was pro-life, by the way. So I don't know if a lot of atheists don't realize that. Chris, I knew Chris for, what, 32 years. He was pro-life. But when on the Bill Maher show, he said, your audience will laugh at anything, and then gave them the finger and told them to F off. And I have to admit, because there are people who will just laugh at anything that they think is politically correct.
Yeah, it's true. It's embarrassing. When I watched that clip, it just gave me shudders.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, real pleasure having you on the show, as always. Great you're back. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Pretty good, wasn't it? What little stings we have, the little logos for new segments on the show. Moral Maze, where we talk about various issues, and you saw them mentioned there, life and sexuality, family, extremism, that aren't always covered elsewhere, although I think this particular issue probably has been covered, at least on this station, if not others. Before we introduce our guests, let's have a look at this clip now, please.
I'm a registered nurse who witnessed babies being delivered alive and left out to die. And because of my experience, I was asked to testify on the national level before a U.S. House committee. And for this method of abortion, the abortionist inserts a medication into the birth canal of the mom and induces premature labor. And my experience was that they lived as short as a few minutes to once almost as long as an 8-hour shift. To be clear, these were living babies who were left out to die.
That's the United States, how terrible it is. That was a former Chicago nurse. It happens here as well. My guest, Chantel Jones from Campaign Life Coalition. Welcome back to the show. You were on once before. Rave response to you. So
Thank you.
I'd heard about this. Barack Obama, peace be upon him, for example, as a senator, voted for babies who were born after abortion to be left to die, being a man of enormous compassion. But the Canadian numbers.
Canadian numbers just came out recently. Actually, it's been around since 2009. Stats Canada released it. LifeSite News reported just a few days ago, last week, Wednesday, that from 2000 to 2009, 491 babies were terminated. So what it was that, you know, if you look on Stats Canada, 102,536 is the table, and you break it down subsection and you code it under 96.4, which is termination of a pregnancy affecting fetus and newborn. When you look at it and you add it up from 2000 to 2009, there's 491 deaths, and it's simply unaccounted for besides the terminology of termination of pregnancy.
And no one in I call it big abortion, like big tobacco, because huge amounts of money, big propaganda. No one in big abortion has denied this.
No one has come out and said anything at all. Statistics Canada, who was first approached to clarify this test, haven't responded. The only thing that they've said is, no, this doesn't include stillborn births. So we are looking at a number of babies who were either attempted abortions. We don't know exactly what's going on, but I mean, they were terminated after birth. And it's 491. The Justice Minister hasn't come out and said anything as yet. Obviously, he's seen that 45,000 people have taken a look at this, and there is a growing number of people who are outraged by the accusation that 491 children are gone. We don't know what's happening. This is an abortion in the clinical sense, and it's not, you know, the way that it's being perceived as.
But it's attempted abortion. This is a late-term abortion, we assume, where the baby... Now, we know this has happened. There's enormous amounts of evidence it's happened.
It's happened.
But we've generally had examples from Europe and the United States. So late-term, which is why legislation was brought forward, and Obama was one of the people who said, no, if a baby is born up from an abortion... There was a nurse in the States who tried to save the baby.
Absolutely.
She was reprimanded. If the baby is born, you must leave the baby to die. So we know it happens. This works, I mean, the numbers vary, but between 2000 and 2009, around between 20 and 70, and the average number of 40 to 50 a year.
40 to 50 a year, especially in the later years. We see that 2009, it hit about 67 for the year. And I mean, when you see there was thousands of perinatal deaths in that certain period, and then you see the 491 over the 10 years, you wonder what exactly is going on, and the state in which after the delivery, what is happening. We don't know exactly what's happening. We recognize that there's a termination. Are these babies, how long do they live after this point of delivery? Are they sitting in a corner somewhere? Is someone caring for them? Is this an act of omission? Is this an act of negligence? Babies are dying after they're born, and now we need to redefine and decide what exactly the point of humanity is. I mean, is it a fetus or is it a newborn? Because obviously it's coming out of the birth canal. So, I mean, we need to make a decision on this.
I have to say this. We've just heard that, was it Kate Middleton is going to have a baby?
Oh, absolutely.
Which is not
beautiful
a big
blob of tissue.
Well, yes, no one is saying, and the royal couple are expecting a fetus if they choose to have it.
Absolutely.
Suddenly it's a baby, and my God, you could never... But if anyone is doubting that this happens, they've just got to be sensible here. In the US, legislation has been introduced in states, many of them, because they know it has happened. It doesn't happen that often.
No.
If we say 50 a year with so many abortions that take place, where a late-term abortion, it's very complex, and the baby is born alive. And we know nurses have tried to save. We know others have said, no, you just let them. So we know it occurs. And why would it not occur in Canada? We have publicly funded abortion. And
it's to any point in the pregnancy. I mean, I'm not here to say that late-term abortions happen often, because we don't have the statistics on it. We've been told that they're fairly rare, but they are in fact happening. And with late-term abortions, we don't know exactly how late the abortion part is. We know term-wise, gestational period, it's very close to the end.
We also know that babies can survive. Not that it's in any way an issue. When people say, can it survive outside of the womb? It's such nonsense, because a newborn baby outside the womb will die very quickly. If God forbid you're knocked down by a car, unless you're helped, you will die very quickly.
Absolutely. Dependency is not an issue here.
No, it's not. But in this case, it can be relatively early. A baby will still be alive outside the womb at a relatively early stage. And for those people who've said it's not... Frankly, some twit wrote to me the other day and said, well, I'm a conservative, but I don't think abortion is an issue. I don't think Cuban communism is an issue. I just care about taxes. If you don't think it's an issue, does this disturb you? The vision... The image of a baby being born after an abortion has failed, a baby breathing in a corner, being left to die in front of the eyes of doctors and nurses. If you're not disturbed by that, I have to question your humanity.
Absolutely. And then it doesn't surprise me why we can't define a child as a human if we ourselves are lacking that sense.
I wonder if there will be a response. I would think the government, this particular government especially, will just say nothing.
It needs to delve into this, and there needs to be a public outcry for this. I mean, regardless of where your stance is on abortion, I can't change that. But the truth is, something was born, it's breathing, it's alive, and we don't know what's happening past that point. So, all of us as a society, we need to ask, Justice Minister, at one point where is the criminal offense in all of this? Because it is a crime to kill a born, breathing
Even in Canada,
human.
It is. But you know what will happen? If they mention it, then you'll have the Toronto Star and the CBC and the rest saying, look, the hidden agenda, the Tories really are interested in abortion.
I mean, when it comes to this, the 491 babies dying, it has nothing to do with abortion. It's abortion gone wrong, but it's a human at that point.
We will see. Only one issue, but I think it was well worth the full segment. Thank you very much.
Okay.